Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my everyday makeup drawer for fall 2018. I'm going to go through and let you know which products I'll be using over the next few months now that it is officially fall. Please excuse my voice. I do have a little bit of a cold, which is partly why I haven't uploaded over the past few days and we were just out of town. But I'm back to it. I will have a new video for you guys today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay, so let me start with face primers. These are all of the face primers that I will be focusing on using over the next few months. I have a lot of really hydrating products, but I do have one or two more smoothing or mattifying primers that I will be using as well. The first one is the e.l.f. Oil Control Primer Mist. It was my summer essential, but I am going to keep it in my drawer and use it as we continue to kind of transition into fall weather. And then I've been loving the Becca First Light Priming Filter. That one has been my absolute favorite. It was in my drawer and I decided to pull it back out a few weeks ago, and it just gives your skin a really beautiful, healthy glow. It feels hydrating and smoothing, and I just can't get enough of it. I love hydrating primers. Even though I have oily skin, I always say that, but they just make your foundation go on so beautifully. So this one gives you a really glowy base, which I've just been loving a lot lately. Then I have my Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer, which is a good option when I just want my skin to look really flawless. It's smoothing, it's mattifying, and it's really lightweight on the skin, but it's just an all-around good primer. And then of course I have my Smashbox Primerizer, which is like my go-to primer, especially during the fall and the winter, because it is extra hydrating. It's just really beautiful and it makes your skin look healthy and hydrated and glowy, and I just can't get enough of it. The Flower Supernova Celestial Skin Elixir is somewhat new to my collection. It's a really beautiful glowy oil, and it's a good alternative to the Smashbox Primerizer if you don't want to spend the money. It looks glittery in the bottle, but it's not on the skin at all. Then I have the Milk Makeup Blur Stick, which is more of a mattifying primer. I'm just trying to finish this one up by the end of the year. I do like it. It's really lightweight and gorgeous. It's just probably not something I would reach for a whole lot during the fall and the winter, but I am trying to use it up. And then I have a sample of the Smashbox Primer Oil, because a sample lasts forever because you honestly just need a very small amount. Okay, moving on to foundations and concealers. I'm kind of looking for some new foundations and concealers, but in the meantime, these are the ones that I've been using. Actually, I think a few of them are somewhat new to my collection. Let's just go through them and I'll chat about them individually. The first one is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. This one's a little bit too dark for me during the fall and the winter, but I've been mixing it with the Fenty foundation, which I'll show you guys in a second, and they did expand the shade range, which is awesome. I just tested out the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation a few weeks ago. I've been using it. I think I'm actually using it in a video tomorrow, and I've been loving it. I think it's going to be my go-to for the fall and the winter. It gives good coverage and it's mattifying, but it's a little bit more lightweight than a lot of my oh my gosh, super heavy coverage foundations. Then I have the Too Faced Peach Perfect Foundation. This one is a good mattifying foundation that's very lightweight. I have the shade Snow, and that one seems to work really well for me. So I've been loving that one a lot during days that are a little bit warmer, but I still want more of a lightweight foundation. Then, of course, I have my Fenty foundation. This one is too light for me, so I've been mixing it with my Catrice foundation, and that seems to be the perfect combination. They give me really good coverage, and they stay in place really well, and the colors just seem to balance each other out. Then I have the Healthy Foundation from Physicians Formula, which is my go-to daily foundation. It's lightweight, it gives good coverage, and it's really beautiful. It's just not necessarily super long-lasting, but it is a really good daily option. Then I have two of the Hourglass Vanish Seamless Stick Foundations. I really love this foundation for fall and winter because it's very hydrating. It gives really, really good coverage. It's very blendable, and it looks beautiful on the skin. It's one of my go-tos. The only thing is that the shades that I have aren't my perfect shades, so I just kind of mix them and make them work because I'm trying to use them up, and then after that I might go and repurchase it in like my perfect shade. And then moving on to concealers, I have a couple of concealers that I'm going to focus on for the next few months. The first one is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. This one is a really beautiful full coverage concealer that gives your skin a naturally airbrushed look. It looks so pretty on the skin. Not naturally airbrushed, just like really beautifully airbrushed, I guess is a better description. I also have my ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Light 16, which is one of my favorites. The wand looks like a mess because I actually pulled the stopper out of the concealer because I'm trying to get out every little bit, but that is of course one of my favorites. And then I'm actually going to focus on using up the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealers. This one is not a favorite of mine, but I've had it in my collection for a while, so I just want to make sure I try to use it up before it expires. I don't hate it, I like it, so I don't mind trying to finish it up, but I've kind of been neglecting it over the past few months. So I do want to focus on using both of those shades. I have this product from Hourglass, which is really interesting. It's not a concealer, and I use it in different ways. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. They sent it to me in PR a few months ago, but it is their Veil Retouching Fluid. And basically what I do is, like, during the middle of the day, if I have to retouch my makeup or it tends to fade in one area, I just take a little bit of this and it blends so beautifully on top of powder and foundation, which is crazy. I'll use it in an upcoming video so you can see how it works, but I do have that in my drawer as well. Okay, moving on to face powders, and then I'll talk about cheek products like blushes, bronzers, and highlighters. So these are all of the face powders that are currently in my collection. I'm almost finished with a bunch of them, and then a couple of them are new. So the first one is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder, which is my favorite as like an all-over finishing powder, just to really blend all of my makeup together. It looks really beautiful. It's very lightweight. It's kind of like a luxurious powder because I don't feel like I need it, but I love having it. Then I have the ColourPop No Filter Setting Powder, which has been my favorite translucent powder because it does lock my foundation into place and it makes my skin look really beautiful and really matte all day long, but it's very lightweight. So I've been loving this one a lot. It's a little bit more on the affordable side, but you also get less product than some of the other powders. The Urban Decay Velvetizer is a great option to mix into foundations, or also I like to use it to set my under eye concealer because my under eye concealer does not crease when I use this product. The only problem is that it makes my under eye concealer look a little bit darker than it actually is, so I've kind of been stepping away from it lately and using the ColourPop powder instead, but I do still have it in my drawer. I recently tried out the Milani powder, and I love this because you can use it as a powder foundation, or you can just use it to set your liquid foundation into place, and it gives really beautiful coverage. It's mattifying, it stays in place, and it's just such a good powder. I definitely recommend trying it out. I also have my Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Setting Powder, which is a little bit too dark for me. It's definitely going to be too dark during the fall and the winter, but I love it so much. It makes my skin look amazing. It locks my foundation into place. It doesn't crease. It doesn't get super oily. I love it so much. It's just a little bit too dark. So I go in with a very, very light hand, but I've actually been using this Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder, and it is like magic. It looks so beautiful on the skin. It's very lightweight, so it is not heavy, not cakey, but it locks everything into place and it makes your skin look like skin. It is so, so gorgeous. I think it looks great with lighter foundation, with more full coverage foundations, and you're going to see it a lot on my channel over the next few months because it is one of the best powders that I've ever tried. If you don't want to spend that much money, I totally get it. The NYX HD Finishing Powder is a great option because it is very lightweight. It is a translucent finishing powder, so it doesn't add any extra coverage, but because it is so lightweight, it just glides over any foundation and it doesn't add any cakiness. It doesn't look heavy. The Essence All About Matte Fixing Compact Powder is a great option as well, especially if you're very oily. This isn't something that I'll probably reach for a lot during the fall and the winter, but I'm almost finished with it, so after I finish it up, I think I do have a backup, but I won't use it until like spring and summer roll around, but it is a really good option. The Catrice Prime and Fine is a good option as well. I find this one to be very lightweight, so I think I'll go back to this during the fall and the winter. I've kind of been not neglecting it, it's just been like on the back burner during the summer when I've needed something really mattifying, but I do really enjoy this option as well. Okay, moving on to bronzers. I think I have some highlighting powder, some contours. I have a couple of random products in this little section. So the first thing is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I haven't been using this a lot during the winter, but it is on the lighter side for my skin tone. So I think now that fall is here and I've lost whatever tan I got during the summer, this might be one of my go-to bronzers. I just love the formula and the color is really beautiful and it's very blendable and smooth and it's just a good option. My favorite bronzer has been the Balm's Take Home the Bronze. I know this looks a little bit weird in the pan, but it hasn't expired. I haven't had it for very long. It's just looked like that since I got it, but once you apply it to the skin, it's very blendable, very smooth, and I just love this product. It's my favorite. I recently did a review on the Too Faced Tutti Frutti collection, which I'll link in the description box below. The Pineapple Sun Bronzer Highlighter Duo was part of the collection, and I do like it. I don't know if I'm going to end up using this all fall and winter, but I did want to try to get some more use out of it before I decided to keep it or declutter it for good. But I do really like the banana powder that was part of the collection. This is so good. I use it under the eyes to brighten up the eyes. I use it to kind of even out my foundation, my powder, if I went a little bit too dark with like certain powders or contours. It's just a really, really good product. I've also been testing out the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow Duo, which again, I did use that in an upcoming video so you guys can see what it looks like. I've had these products in my collection for a few weeks and I've been testing them because I wanted to do a video on my favorite like essential high-end products. So I haven't talked about them a whole lot on my channel, but you'll see more in that upcoming video. I did pick up this Hourglass Trio at the same time that I picked up these Charlotte Tilbury products, but I haven't tested this yet because I had so many products to try. It comes with 3 of their blushes and I'm so excited to use it because I love their blushes so much. The only one that I already had was Mood Exposure, which is on the right, but I had a mini version, and the mini versions are a great option because they last forever, but Mood Exposure is like my favorite blush of all time, so I don't think I'll have any issue finishing that one up, and the colors in this palette are so beautiful, so I can't wait to use it. Okay, moving on to blushes. I do have quite a few blushes in my collection for the fall, so I'll quickly run through them. The first one is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush in the shade Fairy Flush, which is a great option for everyday wear. And then I have a bunch of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting blushes. I have a few of the strobe lighting blushes, which have like pretty obvious shimmer and even glitter in them, and those are a great option if you like really, really glowy blushes. And then I have a few of the just like ambient lighting blushes, and these are more of like a matte blush, but they give your skin a really beautiful, natural, luminous finish because they are mixed with like that really beautiful glowy powder. So I love the Hourglass blushes. I definitely think they're worth the money. I do love the Wet n Wild blush in the shade Don't Flutter Yourself. It's been more of a summer blush, so I don't know if I'll use it a ton during the fall and the winter, but it's one of my go-tos. I have been testing out this Charlotte Tilbury blush, and this one is in the shade Ecstasy, and I really like it. I will say that I like the outer shade a little bit better than the inner shade because I definitely prefer more of a neutral blush, but I've been loving it a lot lately. I like how you can wear it a few different ways, which is always nice. And then I have the blushes from the Too Faced Tutti Frutti collection, which are really beautiful because, again, they're kind of like 3-in-1 blushes. You can use the highlight shade, the blush shade, or mix them together, and I love them. Like I said, I typically wear more neutral colors, but these kind of help me step out of my comfort zone and do something a little bit brighter, more bold, more intense. So these have been a great option. I love a good glowy blush. So I like mixing the shades together to get that really pretty, like shimmery pop of color. If you don't like glowy blushes, I would skip over these, but if you do, they have some really, really beautiful options. And then one of my favorite blushes is the Too Faced Papa Don't Peach blush. Okay, moving on to highlighters. I don't have too many highlighters, but there are a couple that I really want to focus on using. I actually have one blush first. This is something that I got in an Ipsy bag, and it's just such a beautiful color. It's very blendable, very easy to work with, so I have been wearing it a lot. And then I have the Smashbox Vlada blushes. The entire Petal Metal collection was marked down fairly recently, so if it's still available, I'll link it in the description box below. The highlighters, I think I called them blushes, but the highlighters are what I would recommend from the collection. I use the darker shades as blushes, which is, I guess, why I referred to them as blushes, but depending on your skin tone, they would make amazing highlighters as well. I think I said in my review I wasn't sure that they were worth the full price, but now that they're discounted, I do think they're worth the money. So if they're available, I'll link them below. I've been testing out these Pixie highlighters. I think I used them in a trying new makeup video, and they're really beautiful. They look so pretty on the skin. They're very glowy, very gorgeous. They do tend to show off texture a little bit, so if you have really textured skin and you don't like to show that off, I wouldn't recommend picking them up. But if you're looking for like a fun, glowy blush, these are a great option. I think the first duo is a little bit more subtle, but Delicate Dew is a little bit more intense. So if you like more of an intense, blinding highlight, this duo is going to be the option for you because it is a lot more intense, as you guys can see in the swatches. I have my Becca highlighters, which are my favorite. Champagne Pop is a really beautiful gold, and then my favorite highlighter of all time is the shade Opal. If I had to get rid of all of my highlighters in my entire collection and just keep one, this is the one that I would keep. I recently picked up the shade Moonstone. I do have a Sephora Ulta haul coming later this week, so you guys will see that in that haul video. I haven't really used it yet, so I can't really share any more info, but I did grab it recently. Okay, moving on to some eye products. I have mascaras, brow products, and things like that. So let me kick it off with mascaras, and then I do have a couple of highlighters that didn't fit in my other little highlighter container. So I just have a couple of the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek Highlighters. These are really beautiful, and I've actually been a big fan of them lately. They just look really naturally glowy on the skin, but they still give you like an intense highlight, but they just melt into the skin. They're easy to apply, and I've just been a big fan of cream cheek products lately, which is weird, but I I'm just embracing it and going for it. The e.l.f. Mascara Primer is good. I think it works well. I don't know if it works as well as the Smashbox Photo Finish Lash Primer, but it is a good option if you don't want to spend the money on the Smashbox one. The Essence Lash Princess, I've actually had this open for a while. I should probably toss it now that I'm thinking about it. So I'll toss it at the end of September. And then I've been using the Hourglass Extreme Caution Mascara for a while as well. It's drying up a little bit because I have been using it nonstop, but I do love that one. And then the Tarte Lifted Mascara, again, it's been open for a while, so I think it's time to get rid of that one very soon. But these are my current mascaras in rotation. The Milk Makeup Kush Mascara isn't my favorite, but I did use it, so I'm trying to finish it up because I don't hate it. I just layer it with a few other options in my collection. But let me know in the comments below what your favorite mascara is of the moment, because I kind of want to try a new one. So in this container, I have brow products, eyeliners. I do have my Urban Decay Primer Potion, which is my go-to. And then I have two different brow gels. The first one is the Essence Make Me Brow, which is my favorite eyebrow gel mascara. I recently tried out the Milk Makeup Kush Brow Gel, and it just did not compare to this one. I love this one the most. And then I'm going to be trying out the ColourPop Brow Boss. I've never tried it, but a lot of you guys said that you love it, so I did pick it up a while ago, and I'm finally trying it out this month. I have been using this product from Physicians Formula, the Brow Last. It's really weird. I don't think I like it. I've used it a couple of times. I'm going to try it like 1 or 2 more times before I share like my final thoughts, which are that it's kind of a weird product. It's a very wet product, and you brush it onto your brows, and then you like comb it out with a spoolie, but it's not a very precise product. I think the packaging is off. If they had packaged it a little bit differently, it might be better, but so far I just don't really understand it. I do have my Cella eyebrow cream that I got in a subscription box, which I do really love. It's really easy to work with. It just makes your brows look natural and beautiful. But my go-to brow product is definitely a brow pencil. So I have the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, the Anastasia Brow Wiz, and the ColourPop Brow Boss. My favorite is the Anastasia Brow Wiz, but it's just so much more expensive than the other ones, so I kind of use it sparingly. I mostly use it in like the front of my brows. As for liners, I've been using the Tarte Maneater Liquid Liner, and then I've been testing out the Smashbox Always On Liquid Eyeliner, but I don't know if I like it. It works fine. It's not my favorite. You guys, this eye pencil is amazing. It's the best nude eye pencil that I've ever tried. I will forever spend the money on this product because it makes my eyes look awake and beautiful. I will use it in an upcoming video and show you guys how well it works, along with a lot of these products. So moving on to eyeshadow palettes. I have a ton of them. I have the Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry Eyeshadow Palette, which was part of the Tutti Frutti collection. I've been loving it for easy pink eyeshadow looks. And then I also have the Pineapple palette that was part of the same collection. This one is just like a good everyday neutral palette with a few pops of color. I have the Nightingale palette from Pretty Vulgar, which is a really beautiful palette if you're looking for like a cool toned brown smoky eye. The shadows work really well, and I've just been enjoying it. And then I have a few Bad Habit palettes. So I have the Supernova palette, which I guess is a dupe for the Lila palette. I never put that together, but I do really love this one. And then the Athena palette, I don't know which one this is a dupe for. I think it's like one of the Huda palettes, but I don't know. I just like their palettes in general because the shadows work pretty well. They're easy to work with in my opinion. And then I have the Anastasia Soft Glam palette, which I have been using a lot lately, but it's just a good neutral palette. The Norvina palette, which is one of my all-time favorite Anastasia palettes. I just think it is so beautiful. It doesn't look like I've used it that much, but honestly, I use it all the time. The Too Faced Chocolate Gold is nothing new to my collection, but it just has beautiful metallic shadows that are so easy to work with, and I think they're so much fun for fall. And then the Urban Decay Born to Run is just a great option for all year, but I think the colors just scream fall to me for some reason. So this NYX palette is new to my collection. These palettes are kind of hit and miss for me, so I don't know if I'm going to end up loving it, but the colors are really pretty. It's just a gorgeous, cool toned palette, so I thought I would try it out. I will be using the Bad Habit Retro Love palette as well, which is a dupe for Subculture, which I did not like, so this one I like a little bit better. It's just a little bit easier to blend and work with. And then I have the Smashbox Vlada Cover Shop palette, which is a great option for like a pretty rose gold eyeshadow look. Then I have the Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves palette, which comes with some really beautiful pink shadows. They're a little bit more on the cooler tone side, so this is a great option for fall. And then my favorite palette of the moment has been the Masquerade Mini Palette by Juvia's Place. I just can't get enough of this palette. I think it is so beautiful, so easy to work with. The Nubian palette's also a great option, or no, the Warrior palette, sorry. These palettes are really great if you want like golds and bronzes. The formula is really good and you get a ton of shadow. And then I have the Tardis Pro palette, which is an older palette in my collection, but I thought it was time to break it back out because again, it just kind of screams fall and winter to me for some reason. The Identity palette by Persona Cosmetics is really beautiful. These colors are just great everyday colors and the formula is so good and so easy to work with. And then I have a few ColourPop palettes. I have the Perception palette, which has some really fun, bright, colorful shades as well as some neutrals. And then two pretty basic neutral palettes, but they're my favorite. We just went out of town last weekend and these are the only palettes that I brought with me. The Fortune palette has really beautiful warm tones and then the Fame palette has really beautiful cool tones. If you guys are like pretty minimalistic with your collection and you just need a good warm palette and a good cool palette, these two are great options. They're such good quality. Okay, and then finishing up with lip products. I'll keep this a little bit on the shorter side because I haven't switched it up too much since my last video, but these are like my go-to lip products. So I don't have a lot of bold shades. They're just mainly like my everyday neutrals. So these are my liquid lipsticks. I have some from Stila. These are their Stay All Day liquid lipsticks. And then I have a couple of the Smashbox Always On liquid lipsticks in some really beautiful colors. The Pixie lipstick in the shade Matte Beige, which I haven't tried out yet. And then a few Too Faced Melted Matte lipsticks. And then a couple from ColourPop and one from Ofra. So again, these are just some of my go-to shades. And then moving on, I have a Wet n Wild lip scrub, which I just use to exfoliate, as well as an e.l.f. lip scrub. And then I do have this e.l.f. liquid lip color remover, which is great for removing liquid lipsticks. I have a couple of these Urban Decay Lo-Fi lipsticks, which are really beautiful. They just kind of give your lips like a pretty stained effect. I just picked out like 4 shades that I think I'll get a lot of use out of. They stay in place pretty well as long as you're not like eating and drinking a ton, and they're very, very lightweight on the lips. I have a couple of Bite Beauty lip products, one in the shade Leche and one in the shade Glacé, and these are just nice matte lip colors that are easy to wear. The Wet n Wild lipstick in the shade Bare It All, which is my favorite. The Smashbox lipstick in the shade Latte, which is another one of my favorites. And then the Urban Decay Vice lipstick in 1993, which is new to my collection. And also their lipstick in the shade Bun Bun. I also have the ColourPop lipstick in the shade Layover, which I will be trying to get some use out of as well. And then finishing up with lip glosses, my favorite lip glosses, they are so, so good, are the Urban Decay Hi-Fi Shine lip glosses. I know they're expensive, but they are so worth the money. I wear them every single day. And then I have my ColourPop lip liners, which I do wear a lot as well, a Buxom lip liner, and the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in the shade Iconic Nude. And then I have a ColourPop lip gloss, a Buxom lip gloss, and then a bunch of mini Buxom lip glosses as well. I know I kind of went over those so quickly. If you want to see a video on my favorite lip products, just let me know and I can film it for you. In the back of my vanity, I just have a few face palettes. So I have the Too Faced Natural face palette, and then I have their new peachy face palette, which I haven't tried yet, so I need to work on using that. Those Too Faced lipsticks in the front, on the left and in the center, have been my favorite. The left ones are the ones that I've been wearing nonstop. They're very, very lightweight, very comfortable, and they have a nice, beautiful, like shiny finish. And then the center ones are their peach lipsticks, which have more of a matte finish, and they're a little bit heavier, but they do stay in place really well. And then these are just my go-to ColourPop lip products, lippy sticks, lippy pencils, and eyeliners. So that is the end of my video. I had a ton of products in my drawer for fall. I hope this video wasn't too long, but I did want to share it with you guys. Let me know in the comments below which products you'll be using during the fall months because I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.